Hello, I'm John Martin.
Hi, I'm Chris Davis.
Hello, my name is Kunta Yamiba, and welcome to Man Talk, where real men have real conversations.
Thank you.
Today we'll be discussing what does it mean to be a father?
You know what? That's a good question because there's so many aspects to being a father, and I've been a father for the last 13 years. So,
Okay.
so I have some experience now.
All right.
One of the main things about being a father that's very important is the word integrity. You know, being real. So, what I mean by being real is, you know, what you say, with how you talk, you got to match that with your walk. You know, 100%. 100%. You know, because being a father, you have people that watch you, regardless if you like it or not. They're watching you. You know, whether it be your kids, whether it be the neighborhood kids. Once you're a father, that's what you are. You know, so it's definitely like an overall being of who you are and how real you are. You know.
Okay. You're talking about integrity and the ability to actually walk out the persona that you put before your children. How difficult is that?
If you practice what you preach on a daily, it shouldn't be difficult at all.
All right.
The most difficult thing is to me is being consistent to where you actually, like, if you do get emotional, like you really have to pay attention to who's watching, like all the time. Like you have to be that person 100% all the time. Real. Like one day, if you tell your son or daughter, you know, to act a certain way or you know, to sit at the kitchen table, you know, in good posture, you can't slip on that no more. You have to act that out as well. You know, just little examples like that.
All right.
You know.
So what I believe you're saying here is that you need to model the behaviors that you actually give your children.
Right. And make it routine.
And make it a routine. Okay. All right. One thing I know about parenting is that children will do what you put before them.
Right.
So if you say, I want you to sit up straight at the table, but when you come to the table, you're on your cell phone or you got your iPad, but you just said we want to have family discussion.
Right.
When you model the behavior of bringing the cell phone and the iPad to the kitchen table, what you're actually saying to them is that's okay.
Exactly, because it's not. Your kids are always going to watch. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to watch you. You know. So it takes years to learn how to listen.
Okay.
You know. And when you're a kid, 5, 6 years old, like, you do what you're told, but your sense of sight overpowers everything, you know. So basically, as a parent, how you walk, how you talk, everything, that's what they're really paying attention to. That's why like my son, he's 13 years old now.
Okay.
And he walks just like me. You know what I mean? I mean, it's real. He walks like, as he's walking, I say, man, that's how I walk. That's it. You know, he's starting to do hand gestures, talk, and everything. You know, just like he didn't get that by listening, he got that by seeing.
Observation.
I mean, so it's important to make sure that what you're putting in front of your kids, the ingredients, or everything, what you put in front of your kids is something that they can digest with their eyes. You know?
Now, you made a very interesting or salient point that our children, it's not what they're not really listening to us, but they're more watching us.
Right. I think the reason why I say that, and of course they do listen, you know, but the reason why I say that is because just like with instincts, like before I listen to something, I gotta trust it.
Okay.
You know, and our kids, we show them love, we build their confidence, you know, but somewhere along the point, they acquire a sense of trust,
Okay.
and you constantly have to build that every day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it takes forever to build trust. It takes a second to wipe it off, though, to wipe it all the way out.
You know what? That's interesting you say that, because I think about being a father, and I know that my children trust me.
Mhm.
You know, I had came home from work one day and my son told me I was the greatest dad in the world, how much he loved me. That brought tears to my eyes. And the next day, I don't know, I was something at the office, but I was a little agitated, and I spoke a little swiftly toward him, and I was a little abrupt, and it hurt his feelings. And one thing I do want to suggest to the audience is that saying you're sorry to your children when you make a mistake is a good thing.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because everyone is held or should be held accountable.
Okay.
Everybody's responsible for your actions.
All right.
So everybody makes mistakes, and just
Okay.
like I was explaining to my son the other day, it's okay to make mistakes. You know, he's in this. He likes to make beats
Okay.
on the computer, so he has this little studio software and everything. He's making beats, and he's like, man, I keep messing up. I'm like, that's a good thing. That's okay. You're not perfect.
Okay.
You know, you practice to be perfect. You know, no one's
All right.
perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, but you know, when you do make that mistake, you do have to recognize the mistake that you're making. You know, so you can so you can change that in the future. If you do hurt someone's feelings, you know, it's very important to say sorry, because we're all human, and if you do take accountability for that, then you get respect for that also. You know,
Okay.
people will respect that more about you. You know.
So it sounds like you and your son have very good conversation with each other.
I try to keep it this way. He's at an age now, he's 13 years old, so I kind of talk to him as a teenager now, you
Okay.
know. To me, there's sections, like you really gotta watch how you feed your child, you know. He has 14 principles
All right.
that he has. He's had them since he was 8.
Okay.
Well, he's actually had about 10 since he was 8, and I've added some as he grows.
Okay.
But I say that to say this: my daughter, she's 6.
Okay.
She only has 2 that she's working on right now.
All right.
You know what I mean? And as she gets older, of course, we're going to incorporate more principles, and basically the principles are just a way of life.
Okay.
You know, they're guiding you through life.
All right.
And he'll be able to use these tools as he gets older, you know, as a grown man. I mean, they're just tools that they use. Like, for example, one is I do right even when my buddies do wrong. I'm a leader, not a follower.
Okay.
You know, little simple, catchy things, catchy phrases
Okay.
that stick. You know, and you know he acts out. He says them verbatim. You know,
Okay.
and it's very important to instill things like that. But at the same time, it's very important to just have normal conversations. You
Okay.
know, about current events that are going on. You know, in your world. A kid looks at the world totally different than you do. You know, I mean, they see a different world.
Okay.
So at some point, you gotta mesh both worlds together.
Okay. Right.
You know, so it's definitely important.
Wow. What I'm hearing here today from John, and even as I interject, is that as you coach your children, you have to do what you say you do. When you have the moment where you make a mistake, as we all do, be man enough and humble enough to just say, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Definitely.
It sounds like you do a lot of coaching And you think of coaching, you think about football, baseball, basketball. But the true sense of this word coaching is that you're actually teaching someone how to play a certain subject, or if it's sports or schooling. And what you're coaching your children on is life. And so as parents, we're life coaches. And as I listen to you talk, I'm hearing you talk about modeling certain behaviors to your children and giving them concepts or principles to go throughout their lives. As we do this, at what point do we back up and watch them actually do what we've told them to do? I'll give you an example. My son's a little bit younger. He's 9, and I tell him he has a to-do list. And every day he get up in the morning, he write out his to-do list, and he checks off everything he needs to do throughout the day. So when I get home from the office, all I need to say is, "How you doing, buddy? Give me a hug, give me a kiss. Where's your to-do list?" And he'll be like, "Well, I'm not done yet." And I'm like, "Okay, then, well, take the next X amount of minutes and finish." And so, as we're coaching, as we're modeling, when do you think it's okay to let go of the reins and let them try it on their own?
If it's not going to hurt them physically,
Okay.
then I say go ahead and let them hit their head a few times.
Okay.
Experience is the best teacher. And sometimes us being coaches,
Okay.
we have to realize that we're not always going to be the best for a particular situation.
Okay.
We're not always going to be the best teacher.
All right.
There's other elements that we have to use, in today's society that can teach better than us.
All right.
So I say that to say this: if we do need to use something else, or even like a rap song or whatever,
Okay.
if it's going to help them eventually, it might not help them right now, but if they can learn from that, and take something from something else, then it's better to go ahead and let them hit their head a few times,
Okay.
because a lot of times us talking and us being too overbearing,
Okay.
that can actually harm our kids as well.
Okay.
So for example, like I seen my son the other day. Matter of fact, he's at the YMCA, and they do this thing called gunning each other, right?
Okay.
Which in my day it was called crumming,
Okay.
or joning,
All
whatever,
right. Okay. I remember joning.
where we basically talk about each other.
Okay.
And anyway, he was going back and forth with this kid. I didn't say anything. That's what they do.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like afterwards, I was like, man, come on, man, you could have said this. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But the whole point is that, man, they gotta live. They gotta walk. They gotta start walking as soon as possible.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna be here, in every situation. So we definitely have to let them walk, and that builds confidence too. And then after the fact, like let's say for example they get into something and they come to you and they say like, oh man, I messed up, I messed this up. Then that's your job to get them right back on their square,
Okay.
and then give them like, well, since you did this way, next time try this, or But sometimes not saying anything is the best teacher.
So what I'm hearing is that once we coach for a while, model for a while, give them an opportunity to run a play.
Definitely
Okay.
got to.
And when they run the play, we as parents gotta know that they're not gonna always do it right, and be their safety net to come and catch them and repoint them in the right direction.
Right. After the fact.
After the fact. This has really been a great segment, man. Integrity, coaching, modeling, being able to take the opportunity to let your children make mistakes just as you did, not being judgmental, but let them learn to enjoy life.
Also, it's very important to just listen to your kids. I mean, they do really have a lot to say, and the more and more that they are able to talk to you without the judgmental side of you, and without the harping, the more that they will talk to you. So it is important to be a friend, but at the same time a stern friend, and let them know at the end of the day they can always come to you and talk to you about whatever's going on.